Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Music as a Journey. I'm Peter. I've decided at last to try to tackle the difficult vinyl tag, which was created by Brian at Embryonic Robot. I have just a few unexpected minutes here, and I was kind of preparing for this after watching Steve at the Rollstonians report, seeing how he did it. I also gotta say that Mike at Mike's Vinyl Spiral actually inspired me to finally decide to go ahead and do it. It is a difficult one, and I realized I am not going to be able to answer most of the questions exactly. So Brian has, of course, left it up to us to modify our answers or change the questions accordingly. However, I thought I would still try to stick with the theme of it being a difficult one. So here we go, 10 questions. Let's tackle it because I also know the camera battery is running out and I'm not using the external mic this time, so if the sound quality is not as good as usual, it's because the mic is not on, and if it's better than usual, then maybe I don't need the mic. So let's see, the first one is to show a CD long box, and as has been stated by pretty much everybody, when CDs first started selling in North America, they came in a long box, which actually I have no memory of ever seeing because I bought cassettes in the 1980s and did not buy my first CD until 1989, and as far as I remember, all CDs and cassettes pretty much came in this plastic kind of frame thing so that you could flip through them in the store without actually causing damage to the cases, and maybe also making it more difficult to steal them. So I've never seen a CD long box as far as I know. But I thought I would show this then. This is an album by a band called The Non-Existent. This is called Space Rock, and this features Chris Gill, who is in the band Band of Rain, and who is a friend of mine via Facebook. We exchange messages. I've purchased albums from him. He has, I think he's even sent me stuff for free. He's just a really very nice guy. And yeah, this is one of the things he sent me for free. This was a band called The Non-Existent that he played in, and they just rented a hall somewhere, set up their recording equipment, and played live to no one in the hall and put out this album. And what makes it interesting is that it is, your standard, let's see here, your standard jewel case CD. And this one here that he's given me, well, I suppose if you turn it sideways, it's about the same dimensions, but it is meant to be this way, which is also shorter and thinner than a DVD case. So I have no other CDs in my collection in this kind of a case. It's in the plastic right now, but I think it even opens up like a DVD. So it's like a mini DVD case turned this way with the same dimensions as a regular jewel case CD. But it is actually a plastic, all-around plastic case. Okay, so instead of a CD long box, I'm showing you this. All right. Next up, it says to show a flexi disc. Okay, so this I can do. So I'm going to show you, this is Billy and the Boingers bootleg. This is Bill the Cat. This is from the Bloom County comic series written by Berkeley Breathed. I was a big fan of this during my junior high school days, and I bought all of these books that came out. So Bill the Cat, along with Opus the Penguin, and a couple other people formed a band called Billy and the Boingers, and then there was a contest to write a song for Billy and the Boingers, and then with this book came this flexi disc with 2 tracks. One is called You Stink But I Love You, and the other one is called I'm a Boinger. I still can remember these songs mostly in my head. However, I took a search on YouTube and I found both of them. Someone has uploaded, actually more than one person has uploaded both of them. So I'm going to put links to both of them in the description of this video here, so you can go over and have a listen to I'm a Boinger and You Stink But I Love You. So that's my flexi disc, and I actually have one other one too, but it's buried in a box, like so much other stuff around here, buried in boxes. Actually, I had to dig this one out. Next up, a record with a timing strip or time strip on the jacket. I actually considered doing a time lapse of me stripping for this, but then I watched a video of Steve at A is for Alice, B is for Bob, C is for Conundrum not that long ago, and he actually had 3 shirts on and he was taking off one shirt after the other for his video, so he kind of already beat me to the strip down. So where did I put it? I guess in lieu of that, because I don't actually have very many records, I just have a few used ones in there and a couple of gifted ones. So what I'm going to do is show my copy of Days of Future Past by the Moody Blues, the very first CD I ever bought. And you're not going to be able to see it because this is a camera with, what do you call it, manual focus right now. But in this very little narrow black strip up here, it lists all the song titles, which is really unusual. They normally don't list the song titles on the front cover of an album. They did it for Cheap Thrills, Big Brother and the Holding Company. They did it for that one too, but in a creative way. Here, they are simply listed right across the top there. And they're actually rather small, so I'm not going to try to read them either, but you know the tracks. They're all in the back here too. So I guess, yeah, that's an unusual thing to have the track list on part of the cover, the album front cover. That's the best I can do for that one, Brian. Next, it says a live CD or LP where you were in the audience. So I have been to probably only about 24 concerts in my life, including live on Whistler Mountain with Colin James and Jan Arden, and a Canada Day Festival one, and an in-store 4-song performance by, oh, actually I saw Natalie, Holly McNarlin performing at A&B Sound in Vancouver too. In the store. But anyway, I don't think she recorded a live version of that. And if there are any live recordings of any of the concerts I've been to, I don't know about them because I'm not a big fan of live albums, so I haven't bought anything like that. But what I can do is, first of all, I will show you a short clip from a concert back in 2018. This is a thrash metal band from Australia called Mason. Here we go. And after the concert, they had a photo of themselves taken on stage by, I guess, one of their crew, and they posted it on their social media page. And if you look in the background, let's see here. So next is show a record that is not on Discogs or that you had to put on Discogs. This actually turned out to be a lot easier than I thought. So one of my favorite Japanese artists is a woman named Maki Yano, or Yanomaki, and I just did a search on Discogs to see, is there anything of hers that's not on Discogs? There are actually only 6 entries on Discogs. 5 of her albums or mini albums and 1 live album. 5. Now let's see here. This is my collection of albums by Yanomaki. This includes singles, albums, mini albums, 3-song EPs, and pretty much everything except for her second single CD release. I didn't get it because the same songs appear on the first full album. And then there is a live album of hers I don't have, a compilation album of hers I don't have, and an album she did with singing with another group, which I don't have. But otherwise, I have everything else. Discogs only lists 6 of her recordings, 6 of her releases. I win. So item number 6 is a 7-inch single, 12-inch single of the same track, or another combo of CDs and singles. So I don't have doubles of any singles. I don't have 2 different formats of any singles. First of all, the only singles I ever buy are CD singles, and that's actually only for maybe 2 or 3 Japanese artists. That's it. So in lieu of that, I thought I would show 3 different versions of the same song. So first of all, from the Tea Party's second major label album, The Edges of Twilight, one of their best known songs is Sister Awake. That is on this album. After that, they released an EP called Alhambra, which is a re-recording of some of the songs from The Edges of Twilight. So there is another version of Sister Awake on here called Sister Awake Remix, but it is actually noticeably different. It's not just remixed. It's quite different from the original. It does have some of the aspects that the original has, but I think it's a different track. And then finally we have Jeff Martin live in Dublin. Jeff Martin being one of the members of the Tea Party. He left the band for a few years and went off to pursue a solo career. So this is him performing live in Dublin. And yes, what are the tracks he's singing on here? Just him, an acoustic guitar, and somebody providing some percussion. Of course, Sister Awake is on here as well. So that's 3 different versions of Sister Awake. How about that? All right, I'm trying to be creative here. Because I think Brian was very creative coming up with his questions. So let's see. Number 7 says, show an album show an album and all of the singles from that album. Okay, so as I said, there are very few bands I actually bother to buy any singles of, but one of them is a Japanese band, Garnet Crow. They no longer exist, but the reason why I was buying their singles is because every single always had a B-side, and those B-sides never appeared on the albums. And some of their singles actually had 2 B-sides, and in some cases, at least one of the B-sides was even better than the single. So first of all, from their, I should show the album first. This is their second album called Sparkle. This goes back to around 2002, I think it was. This is their best-selling album, highest sales. So prior to Sparkle, they released the single Last Love Song. They released the single Call My Name. They released the single Timeless Sleep, which also appeared in some anime, it looks like. And they released the single Yume Mita Atode, after having the dream. So, and that was also used in the Conan anime, it looks like. So yeah, most of their albums, especially the early ones, there were 4 or 5 singles released ahead of every album, and I have pretty much all of them. So the only ones I don't need to have, because I have a compilation of B-sides that includes the ones that I don't have. But otherwise, I have pretty much all of Garnet Crow's singles. Hey everybody, here is Kurama. You've seen Miko on my shoulders. This is Kurama. Oh, he's not happy about being on camera. You're not as much fun as Colton, huh? Okay, let's see here. Item number 8 is show a record that was bundled with a CD. So once again, I don't buy records. So there is no record bundled with a CD. Instead, I'll show you a book that was bundled with a CD. This is a book called The Glass Sun Story, America's Garage Band. And actually, it came with a CD. The CD is not in here because I packed it away in a jewel case and stuffed it in a box down there. But trust me, I have the CD. And this band, they have a song called Silence of the Morning, which is a really cool early 70s proto-metal song. Otherwise, their stuff is mostly 1960s garage rock, but that one song I heard and I thought I had to have it, and just at the time I was looking into it, they were releasing a book with the history of the band, their lyrics, and all that kind of stuff there. And so actually this was the very first purchase I ever made using my PayPal account. Ooh-hoo-hoo. Okay, so yes, a book that came with a CD instead of a CD that came with a record. Item number 9 says show a box set of both CD and vinyl. Okay, so once again, I don't buy vinyl stuff, so I have no vinyl box sets to show. However, somebody out there managed to cover by showing a box set, a CD box set that looks like it could be a vinyl box set. So this is Tommy Bolin, The Ultimate, I think it was called. This is a box set. I have shown this before. I think Steve has this too. Steve at A is for Alice, B is for Bob, C is for Cat. So there's a booklet in here, and there are 2 CDs, and this covers stuff he did with Zephyr and what's it called? The James Gang and his solo stuff and a bunch of other things. Moxie and all that. Okay, and the final item is a song that mentions your name, either your first name, middle name, last name, or a nickname. So we are going to take a brief listen to the final track on here. Well, not quite the final track. This is Part 4B from the Colin Tench Project, Hair in a G-String, Colin Tench's first Colin Tench Project album. And guesting as vocalists on here are Phil Narrow and Peter Jones. In Part 4B, it's rather a funny song, very humorous one. And in one part, Pete Jones does a death metal growl impersonation and then coughs or chokes. And then Phil Narrow says, "Hey Pete, are you okay? Don't choke on that potato." So let's just listen to that part of that song now.
Hey, you okay, Pete? Don't choke on that potato, eh?
And there you have it. Hey Pete, don't choke on that potato. Alright, and that's my effort to enter the difficult vinyl tag. Obviously, I changed almost everything around to suit my collection, but I still try to stick with the spirit of having something difficult or unusual as much as I could. Alright, thank you, Brian. I think pretty much everyone has already jumped on this, so I don't really need to tell anybody else to try, right? There it is. Thank you for watching. We'll be back with more Opeth videos, and so on. See you in the next video, folks. Bye.
Wow, Peter, that was really intense.